I was calling this one the Shaw family because I have to go work for them, right? And I really don't want to do it. You know what I mean? I'm like, fine, I'll do this for you, but like, I don't really want to do it. And I just called them today to see if I could go work there. They were like, no, we're not home. So how about you come tomorrow after 3:30? I'm like, all right, cool. And then she asked me the red question, the real hard question that everybody gets asked. She's like, how much are you going to charge for it? And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. This is what the drug dealing thing. Person asks, and they're like, how much are you gonna charge for this? And I'm just sitting there like, you're not gonna like the price. And I've had quarrels with people all the time about the price of my weed. And the price of my weed was so high that a lot of people didn't like buy frequently. So I would be betting on like one sale at a time because Dan and Sam would always sit there and be like, yo, sell high, sell high. I should change that up a little bit. So Sam would be like, sell high, don't sell any lower than $40. Don't sell it for 50, sell it for $60 per eighth. And I'm sitting there like, okay, okay, sell it for $60 per eighth, but I never do it. You know what I mean? Like, I always thought that $60 was high and I would never make any money. And it was kind of true because the people that I was dealing with were people that were my age and people that didn't have a lot of money flowing around. And, they worked at Costco, they worked at ShopRite, they were making minimum wage or a little bit above minimum wage, but they weren't making like a ton of money. So I would charge them a measly, a measly $55. No, it was literally based on like your job. So I would scope out what type of job that you had, right? And if you worked at ShopRite, right, I would charge like $50. And if you worked at a restaurant, I would charge like 55 because the reason why I charged this one girl, I think her name was Ashley. I forgot what her name was. She's still on my Cash App. I asked her for $55 because they were talking about their job and how it was such an upscale place and how they made enough money to pay for rent and to go out and do what they needed to do. And I was just sitting there like, okay, I'll charge you 55. Now, and then we change that up a little bit again. It's not, I wasn't completely basing it off of their job. You know what I mean? Like, I was just basing it off of feels. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to charge you 55. And it's like, why? Because you don't ask me a lot. Something like that. I would be like, you don't ask me a lot, so I'm going to charge you 55. And the rate that I was supposed to be charging was 60. So Sam was like, sell for 60, sell for 60, don't sell for anything less. So I'm sitting there getting pressured. I'm like, all right, I have to sell for 60. Why am I selling it for 60? I don't even know. Because I bought a pound, right? And a pound was like 2,300. If I sold an eighth for like $35, I would still make profit. So selling it for $60 doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? So I asked Dan one time, we were just chilling in his room, and I was just like, how do you do this? How do you keep up with the pressure? And he's like, man, all I do is smoke. I was like, okay. I was like, that was such a high answer. It's like, bro, I don't know. I just smoke. And then I was like, how much should I sell for? And he was like, this is what he said. He was like, I don't care how much you sell it for. Just make money. So I'm sitting there like, that one did not hit me as much as Sam telling me to sell it for 60 all the time. Because Sam is sitting there telling me, sell for 60, sell for 60. The real problem was I didn't know what to sell for. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand the true cost of what I was selling. I never sat down and was like, you know what, how much does each eighth cost? So like we can do it right now. This is gonna take me a little bit because I've been a little bit off. So $2,300, and then you divide that by 4. $2,300 divided by 4. Oh, you know what? I was going to do this too. So we're gonna get back to that. So what I told Mrs. Shah, I was like, she was like, how much do you want to charge us for it? So we were on the phone and I was just sitting there like, oh my gosh, she just asked me this question. And then I'm sitting there on the phone. I was like, how about 40? How about 40? And then she's like, I can't hear you. You're breaking up. And I was like, what? She's like, I can't hear you. You're breaking up. And then I was like, okay. Because I was sitting there walking around talking on the phone like an idiot because I feel a little bit hyper right now. So she's like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I'm like, 40. Okay. And then she was like, all right, just text me. Just text me what you're thinking. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, fine. I'll text you what I'm thinking. But the number that I'm thinking is not even a good number. You know what I mean? Because Belinda was like, you should be charging like $75. And I was sitting there like, how much should I be charging? You know what I mean? And I feel like this is my schizophrenic side talking. I feel like they're like testing me. I feel like every person is testing me every time something comes up. Like if you're asking me to do something for you, you're testing me. Like, should I do it or shouldn't I do it? Like, what should I do at that moment? And especially like asking for a job for me to do. And they're asking me to do pretty much hard labor. All right. So it's to clear out a plant bed that they don't need anymore. It grows mints and they don't need it anymore. They just want to take it all out. So I'm just sitting there like, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm talking to myself about it, I'm like, I didn't even charge them a lot. I didn't charge them enough. I should have said like 55 or something like that. But I sat there and now I'm not as scared anymore because I was like, she asked me how much. I was like, all right, 40, because I did their lawn for $30. And that was such a low price. That was such a low ball price. You know, Tom told them, hey, he can do it for $30. And then he told me one day while I was cutting his grass, and I was sitting there like, I was already mad that I was cutting his grass for $30. And then the guy comes over as I'm cutting the grass. I don't hear what they say. Then I go to the backyard to start cutting the grass, and Tom comes over. He's like, hey, look, the Shah family wants you to cut their grass. And I told him that you can do it for $30. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, sure. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. $30 to cut your grass. And what I'm used to is like $25 per hour. So I'm used to doing things for a good amount of money. A good amount of money. Because even $25 an hour isn't a lot. It really isn't a lot, guys, especially when you're cutting grass, because these people will charge you like $100 just to cut the grass once. And then you would pay them at the end of the month like $200. You know what I mean? Like, so what am I doing? What am I doing? Oh my gosh, I didn't charge them enough. I did not charge them enough. I'm sitting here nervous about the text message because I was like, let me hop on this and let me talk about it real quick. And as I'm talking about it, I'm like, bro, you didn't even charge them a lot. Like you really didn't charge them a lot. Like this is low. This is low. Like what they're asking for is a lot, bro. They're asking for a lot. And I was sitting there like, all right, they're asking for me to just clean up this little bed of dirt. So I'm like, I'm going to charge more than what I charge for cutting their grass for sure. Definitely for sure, right? I should have talked about this beforehand, but I'm that type of person that gets nervous about like asking for a price because people always fight about it. They always have their own ideas, and you know, you have your own idea and they have their own idea, and it always becomes a fight, and they always like ask for less, and you're always like, yeah, sure, why not? I don't understand why you can't pay for that certain price, but okay, whatever, for I'll do it for whatever price you want it for. So I'm here to talk about pricing for people. Really think about it. Really give it some thought. You know what I mean? Like try to give someone a really good number. Like always overcharge. And I think that's what Sam was trying to teach me. He was like, you're going to think that you're helping everybody out and that you're helping yourself out, but you're not charging a lot. So there's two sides of this story. So Dan, so Sam always sold it for like $60, right? He even took me on a drive and he was like, all right, look, I'm going to sell it to this guy for $60. So a little background story on Sam. Sam is an adopted child from, I don't know where. He got adopted from somewhere, and his family, the family that adopted him, was a Jewish family. The mother's Jewish. The father died. I don't know what he died of. I think it was just like health complications. And so it was just his mother living in this house in Highland Park. And Highland Park is known for like really upscale living. It's more upscale than Edison, South Edison, right? If you go to Highland Park, the top property taxes are like, you know, way more. And the houses are a little bit bigger and they look a little bit nicer. So she's still living in this house. I don't know how she's doing it. I don't know what she does for work. I don't ask too many questions because I'm just high all the time and it's really bad. I'm not 100% there as I should be. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there like, okay, cool. That's a little background story on Sam. So he goes in for a drive. We go for a drive, and then he stops at this kid's house. The kid hands him the $60. He's waiting outside. He's like, make sure they're waiting for you. Make sure they're there for you. Like, this isn't a game, dude. Make sure that, you know, these people know who you are and what you're doing. Charge for 60. He's like, look, he pulls up. The kid is waiting outside. It's a little Jewish kid. You know how Jewish people are. You know, if you know one Jew, you know that he knows a lot of other Jewish people. It's a little bit mean. It's a stereotype for sure, but it's typically what happens. So he's selling to this other Jewish kid, and he pulls up. The kid gives him $60. He gives him the bag of weed, and then he's like, "All right, dude, peace." And he just drives off. He's like, "That's how you do it." I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it because first off, we're driving in a Camaro. He has a Camaro, by the way. We're driving in this Camaro, and I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, I have a Kawasaki Versus at home. I can't do this. I can't pull up to somebody and be like, yo, here you go. And be done with it. Like, it doesn't work like that for me. Like, it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder for me. But like, this is what I'm being told. This is what I'm being taught. So it's really stuck with me for some reason. It's like so high, so high, so high. So Dan is a different story. So Dan is selling it for like $40, $45, $35. but he is a big time dealer. Like, he buys $15,000 worth of weed at a time. Like, think about that number. Think about $15,000 worth of weed. But he sells high too. He does sell high. Like, if you think about $15,000 worth of weed, I don't know how many pounds that is. So each pound for me was 2,300. And even if you multiplied that by 5, 0, 0, 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 11. So 5 pounds equals $11,500. But he gets a little bit more than that, because the more, obviously, the more that you buy, the smaller the price becomes. So he sells it at 2,300 to make a profit. So you got to realize that this number 2,300 that I'm working with isn't even the right number. Like, it could easily be 2,000. It can easily be $2,000. So $2,000 times 5, it could be $10,000 for 5 pounds. How many pounds does he get at a time? I wish I remember, but I never was told. Nobody ever really told me. All I know is that he got in trouble later on and got hit with the manufacturing charge. So, he was holding $15,000 at a time, but he was also buying edibles. He was buying cartridges. He was buying wax. So he was buying a lot. So maybe it was like 20,000, but where did I get the number $15,000 from? I think I got that from May. May probably said that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's how much he gets. But I never sat down and had a full conversation with him. Like, yo, bro, how much do you get at a time? Like, how much wax do you get? How much edibles do you get? Like, I was at that level where I can ask him that type of stuff, right? So I was at a very good level with him. But did I ever ask is the question. And the answer was no, because I was nervous and I was way too preoccupied with my own life. In my life, I was basically broke. I was so broke. And all that was going through my mind was money. And it was like, I need more money. I need more money. The whole time I was having an episode because I couldn't work and money was a really big thing. You know what I mean? Money became something so large that even my delusion became wrapped around it. You know what I mean? Like, it was hardcore, like, bro, I'm broke. I don't have any money, bro. I don't even know how to make money at this point in time because I couldn't work. Like, when I tried to work, something would happen. My delusions would get the best of me. And my delusions would be like, nah, bro, you can't work. And I would be like, yeah, you're probably right. I can't work. So then I would just drop out of work. Like, Sam has tried to get me a job at Momentum Solar. And Momentum Solar at the time, this was around 2015, solar became a really big thing where they were selling solar panels, not really selling. Well, yeah, they were selling solar panels to people, and the installation was free. The solar panels were free. You just paid like a monthly payment. You kind of like leased it. You lease it for like 30 years or something like that. And then I think it becomes yours or something like that. But the price that you pay monthly seems pretty measly. It's about like $50 a month. You pay about $50 a month. So $50 a month, $50 a month times 12, you're paying like $600. Times like 30 years, you're paying $18,000. So I guess you are technically paying for it. Like, this is what I mean by, like, people don't sit down and ask questions. Nobody sits down and really thinks. That's what I love about recording, because you really sit down and you think to yourself. You're like, all right, I can focus on a point, on an idea, and really expand it and have fun with it and really talk about it, because I can talk about it with my life experiences and it becomes so much more. Just talking about this, about helping out a neighbor with their lawn care. Like I've talked about how I was mad that I was only getting paid $30 to cut grass. And then even when you do the time, it costs like, it took me about like 2 to 3 hours to do the grass. It took me about, like, let's say an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I would be getting paid $15 an hour to cut their grass. And it would take me like 2 hours, right? So I'm sitting there like, what? I'm getting paid minimum wage for this? And knowing that a grass cutting company would have charged him $100 for that 1 week. And I looked up a little bit more information about grass cutting, and they were like, if you have obstacles in the way, it costs a little extra. And this dude, Tom, has so many obstacles in his lawn that is ridiculous. You're just sitting there like, yo, bro, you have to cut a border, and then you have to cut inside the border, and it's a lot, and you have to go around these big bushes, and you can't even see where you're going half the time. You're cutting the bush, you're cutting the grass, man. You're trying not to mess up anything because he has little trinkets everywhere. Bro, it's difficult. And he was telling me about how he wanted to hire this one guy for him to cut the grass. He was like, I offered him $30 and he just drove away on me. And it's like, yeah, obviously he drove away on you, because what are you charging, dude? What are you giving people? So that's where I should have stepped in, and I should have been like, yo, bro, I can't do it for $30. Like, this is a lot for $30. Like, I don't know. What I should have charged is what Belinda was thinking, like $75. I would have been happy with that. I would have walked away like, yeah, I did a decent job. Like, that's the job that I did. But I'm thinking about it. I'm just like, $75. How am I going to ask him for double plus 15? Double plus 15 for what he's paying to offer. And that's where I get stuck, because I'm like, a lot of people are like this. It's not just me, where they're doing a job and they're doing it for less than what it's worth. Like dealing weed was such a stressful thing. Like, you got to realize that the dude that you're dealing weed with, when you buy from that guy, he can go to jail for it. So you're asking, this is what people do. They look for a lower price. They're looking for a lower price everywhere they go because they buy a lot. And Sam kind of reversed that logic, where he was like, it's only you that is doing it. You're taking all the risk. So it has to, you have to be reciprocated some way. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be reciprocated in a fair way. But Dan was just like, it's all for the chase. You know what I mean? Like, you got to realize, you got to be a smart businessman. You got to realize that these people don't get a lot, and you're one of a kind person. You know what I mean? You're the only person that sells pounds. Like, the people that sell for a high price, they don't have pounds to sell. They only have like an ounce. If somebody charges you like $50, that means that they're only buying an ounce. And that ounce costs like $250, $300. So we can do the math. So I even sold my ounces for $250. So you can do 250 divided by 28. That's about $9 per gram. So 3.5, that's about $32 per eighth. So if they're selling it for 50, even they are kind of like overcharging you. And that's what Dan was trying to get in my head. It's like, you got to realize that you buy a lot, dude. You buy a lot, so you don't need to charge that much. And you got to realize that when you start selling it for a little bit less, that's how you get more business. And that never clicked for me. So I could have been a really big dealer at the time. I could have, but I never got to that point because I was always, my head was in the sky and I was sick at the time. But did it work out in my favor? Kind of. Like, I didn't have a lot of traffic coming to my house. I wasn't, but you got to realize that even if you have high traffic, it starts to get less and less because now these people start buying more and more, and they're buying more. They're coming around less. Um, you're delivering some, you know what I mean? But mostly the people are coming to you. And I remember there was this other kid, Sam, where I was selling it, and I was just like, all right, I'm going to sell it for 50. You know, I always tried to aspire to what Sam was saying for some reason. For some reason, I don't know why. But in the very beginning, I started selling it for 45. You know what I mean? Like, I was always selling it for 45. Whoever asked for an eighth, the first people that started asking me for an eighth got it for a good price. You know, I was like $45 because I remember what eighths cost. Eighths typically cost $40. So you're getting an eighth, and it's like, all right, $40. But I was very behind my product. I was like, this is a good product. Like, where are you going to get this good product from? So I added an extra $5 just for, just for like, bro, you're getting really good stuff from me. And everybody would say that too. They would be like, yo, your stuff is good. Your stuff is good. And I'm just like, yeah, I picked the best stuff. I feel like, personally, I feel like, it's very tricky talking about this because when I talk about my illness, it becomes something else. It's like a person. It's like talking to a person. That's what schizophrenia is like. It's like talking to a different person that would do anything to win. They would do absolutely anything to win. And that's who Dan and Sam were. They were guys that were willing to do anything to win. And that's how it worked out, bro. It was like they were my schizophrenia. Like, people become your schizophrenia because I start to look around and I just see all these people that are grinding so hard to get to where they're at. And I'm like, that's what my schizophrenia is like, but my schizophrenia does it differently. It's like they work smarter, not harder. So, like, they talk about Jewish people and how they came up with the credit card system where they would allow you to borrow money, but in order to borrow money, they would charge you for borrowing that money. So they did that. They went from country to country doing that. And then what would happen was that they would mess up the economy. I'm not sure how they would mess it up, but apparently if you loan out money and you charge people for loaning out money, that's bad for the economy. So personally, I don't know how that works, I wouldn't think that it messed up the economy. I would think that I was pretty smart, but that's what people were saying. They're like, you know what, they're messing up the economy. So the king would kick them out of the country, and then they would go to a different country. They were roamers. They have no home. And that's the big thing about Israel and Palestine. You know what I mean? They're like, are you pro Palestine or are you pro Israel? And if you're pro Palestine, you sound like a Nazi. But if you're pro Israel, you sound like a killer. It's like you don't win. You don't win. But apparently the right side that um you're supposed to, root for is Israel. That's what America says. And if you say otherwise, you can get in big trouble for it. If you're in colleges, and because, they're being very violent about it, so it's pretty dumb. So anyway, I was going to look at, I forgot how to do the math, honestly. 2300 divided by 4. So $2,300 divided by 4 will give you how much a quarter costs. So to give you an idea, I used to sell my quarters for $850. Let's see how much it was worth. It's a shame. It really is a shame, because I was not in the right headspace. You got to realize that. Like, I was not there. I was gone, and I never did the math. Like, I never sat down and did the math. So a quarter costs $575. So you can sell it. You can sell it for $575, and you're still fine. You are still fine, because weed works a little bit differently. Weed works like this. You sell it for a low price, more people are going to come. Sell it for a high price, less people come. So Dan used to sell me quarter pounds for like 800. So I thought that I was selling it for a good price, but Dan was selling it for high, and I did not realize that. You know what I mean? Like, he was definitely like gypping me, but he was just being a salesman. He picked up a kid that never bought weed before, and that's why he would always help out, because he was like, bro, I get this for so cheap and I'm selling it to you for so high. He's basically selling it for double the price. Double it. So that's what you're essentially supposed to do. You're supposed to sell for double the price to get that. You know what I mean? And it's just working smarter, not harder, but it pisses off a lot of people. That's what the Jewish people were doing. So I was selling it for $850, and I was like, bro, that's the best price that I can give you. That's how much I get it for. You know what I mean? That's what I'm telling this kid, Marco. I'm like, yo, Marco, that's how much I'm getting it for. Like, I can't get you a better price. And he was arguing. He was like, yo, bro, come on. It's too high. It's too high. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. But I remember when I got quarter pounds that even I was struggling to make ends meet. Basically, I was selling it and I was just making back what I was paying for. So all I was making back was $800, $750, and I had to put in an extra $50 in order to make ends meet. Like, it was a bad cycle. So what was Dan supposed to be selling it for? He was supposed to be selling it for like 600, 750. But 800 was a good price to him. You know what I mean? Like, you got to realize that I can go to jail for this. I can go to jail for selling this stuff. So you're going to pay me a fair price for this stuff, because you're not, basically you're paying for convenience, you're paying for security, you're paying for all that type of stuff, bro. That's why you're paying that high price. And yeah, maybe you can talk me down. Like if I did the math and I was just like, you know what, Dan, I think you make, like, I could have gone to him like this, like, yo, bro, I think you make a decent amount of money off of what I am buying from you. So how about we do this? How about you sell it for a little bit lower? Because I'm trying to sell it and I'm not making a lot of money. How about you sell it for 750? How about 700? Because 700, then I can make a $50 profit. And now I feel like I'm actually doing something positive. I don't feel like I'm always being dragged down into the negative. Like, that's how you have to talk to these people. Like, you can't go to them and be like, yo, it's too high, it's too high. And then you're just like, what do you want me to sell it to you for, dude? Like, we can all get in trouble for this. We can all get in trouble for this. We need to all we need to all sell this for the right price. Like, you have the best stuff in your school. I know you do. We have the best stuff. You can't get this stuff anywhere else. So sell it for like $50, dude. Sell it for 40. Because I know you're selling it for like 35 because you're trying to make a quick buck. Like, I see like Clifton Stoke. So my bad. I don't mean to say his last name. Clifton is sitting there selling it for like $25 an eighth, $35 an eighth, $25 an eighth. What type of weed are you selling, dude? And then he's like, he'll talk up his product. He'll be like, yo, this stuff is gas. This stuff is gas. Like $25 and it's gas, dude. But when I was selling to him before, I was giving him the best price that I could think of. You know what I mean? I forgot exactly how much I was selling it to him for, but it was too high for him. He was complaining about it all the time. He was like, yo, bro, this is high. Like, but he was like this. He was like, bro, this is high. But when I smoke with my boys, when I was smoking with my boy last night, he was talking to the sky, my dude. I was just like, that's hilarious. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's what solidified my pricing, because everybody would be like, yo, this is high, but this is the best stuff I smoked. And I'm like, yeah, that's why it's high. That's why it costs so much. But I didn't really understand the reason behind my pricing. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand it. And that was a really big problem, because people don't talk to themselves. They don't think about anything. They're just doing the job and they're just like, whatever, I'll charge you anything. And the same thing goes with like Miguel and my parents, because Miguel, he does work. He does good work. Sometimes he does crappy work. Sometimes it's slapdash work. And my parents pay him to do this work because first off, he's not licensed. Second off, he does it for a decent price. He's not gonna, basically, for what a licensed person would charge you, he wouldn't be charging you that much. You know what I mean? He's illegal. He barely speaks English. But when he does the work, sometimes the work comes out really, really nice. Sometimes it comes out really, really nice. Like, he knows what he's doing half the time. The other half, sometimes he doesn't know what he's doing and he's just kind of winging it. But other times, it's him. He's better than most people. Like, there was this licensed guy that came in and did tiles for us. Did a crappy ass job. All the tiles were breaking and there was barely any motor on. I don't know what to call it. Barely any grout. Not grout. I think grout goes around, but not grout. It was something else. But there was barely any plaster on the bottom of the tile, and you could lift up the tile. And then when he did it, it came out perfect. Perfect. Still hasn't cracked to this day. It's so good. And he did a really nice job. Can you find that from anybody else? Probably not. But he knows what he's doing. So, but he charges a low price because, one, he's illegal. Two, he doesn't really know how to speak English. Three, this is what he knows how to do. This is what he loves to do. And nobody can take that away from him. Like, that's what he's going to do till he dies. You know what I mean? But even if he does it till he dies, like, he doesn't know his future, basically, because he's not getting a 401k. Remember, he's not licensed, so he's not getting a 401k. So he's doing these jobs for cheap, and sometimes it doesn't look good, sometimes it looks really nice, sometimes it looks like a slapdash. But regardless, the work is good. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what he does, the work is good. But because he's not doing it officially, and he can get into a lot of trouble for it, is it worth it? Is it really worth that price that he's selling it for? So that's why I'm looking at this. I'm like, you know what? I was nervous because I always get nervous about pricing because I have PTSD from it. You know what I mean? People have been telling me, like, you charge too much, but somebody is telling me how to do it. But that's when I'm like, yo, I have to do more research. I have to think about how much other people are charging for this stuff versus me. You know what I mean? So there's a little trick. When somebody asks you to do a job, this is what you say, regardless of your credit, regardless of your status, regardless of anything. When somebody asks you, they're like, can you do a job for me? Ask them this question. How much would you usually do it for? How much would you usually pay for this? Just ask them that question. And then it gets serious from there. Because then they're going to tell you, oh, okay, I usually pay my guy $100 to do this. Then you're like, okay, I can do it for 75. I can do it for 60. Just to give you a little discount because I'm not a professional or whatever. Like, I'm not going to charge you $100 too. I'm going to try to charge you the best price. Or you can be that person that's like, I'm going to charge you the same price for it because I believe that I'm a professional. I'm good enough as that person. You know what I mean? But anyway, I said 45. Let's see what her answer is. She says it's too much money. That's crazy. See, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Like, this is what she said. Can you take 40, please? Like, why are you bargaining for something that's being done for a really cheap price already? You know what I mean? And it's like, what should I have charged her for? I should have charged her 60. I should have said 60. I should have been like, yo, that's a decent amount of work. That's a decent amount of work. I really don't want to do it. You're going to charge what? For what? I said 45. This is what pisses me off about people. It's like, you're cheap. You are cheap. What is wrong with you? Why can't you just do it for the price that I tell you to? I don't get it. Nobody gets it. This is why people hate doing jobs. Because they know that the person in charge is going to low blow them. They're just going to low blow them. So it took me a really long time to answer her. So she probably knows that I'm pissed off. And I can say, like, no, 45, please, because it's a lot of work. I could say that. But a lot of people, they find people that don't budge, and they don't find those people often. You know, for a person to be like, you know, no, I don't want to do it for that price. You don't find those people often. May is like one of those people where they're like, do something for me. And she's just like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then they get surprised. They're like, what? What do you mean no? Price gouging, you know, cheap work. I'm already charging a low price. I can be a dick like that. I can say like, oh, look, listen, I'm already charging a low price. So 45, please. Like, no offense, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I can't do it for cheaper. It's just $5 extra. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. What is wrong? Oh my gosh. This is what I mean by like you have to talk to yourself. Like you have to talk when you talk to other people and you get bad information because like the person that you're really going to listen to is yourself at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That's who you're going to listen to. And nobody knows your situation. Nobody knows how stressed out that you are about the little situation that you're in. So I'm going to be like, it's a lot of work. I'm already giving you a low price, just 45. I'm going to fight for an extra $5. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like you're asking for it. Like, how much are you going to charge for? And that's what they're used to. These foreign people, that's what they're used to. They're just used to like being like, all right, how can I do it for cheaper? Can you do it for cheaper? I'm literally going to tell her, I'm going to be like, listen, 45 is already low. 45 is low. I'm going to be like, 45 is low. I can do it for 45. Isn't that crazy? Yo, bro, because people don't understand. Ah, yo, son, I'm telling you, I've done this already. I've already done this. I've already done this multiple times with these people. Like, these people think that you're this cheapskate. And then it's a fine line that you have to play with because it's like you can be that person that's like, oh yeah, of course I could do it for a little bit less for you. Of course you are my neighbor, you know what I mean? But shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't it be, of course I could do it for 45 for you. You're my neighbor, you're helping me out. I really appreciate it. Thank you. But no, it's the other way around. The person that's doing the job has to kneel for you. I don't get it. What are you're asking this person for help, and this person is like, all right. Does anybody else get what I mean, bro? I can't be the only one that's sitting here like, yeah, bro, I understand what you're talking about. I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one. It's not possible. It's literally not possible. Now I'm gonna be like, bro, 45 is low already. I'm gonna be like, 45 is low. I can do it for 45 is already low. I can do it for 45. I'm sorry, but I can do it for 45. Is that what I should say? And this is what people like get aggravated about because they're like, why can't this guy do it for lower? You're like, bro, why can't you just pay the price that I asked for? You know what I mean? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? I'm gonna be like, 45 is already low. I can do it for 45. No, and then it's like, just don't ask me. Don't even ask me. That's what people don't understand. Like, you can ask a person for a lower price. Okay, I get it. I get it, guys. Get the lowest price that you can get it for. But they are always going to be like, if you ask them to do a job over and over again, they're going to eventually be like, okay, I could do it for a little less for you. Like for Dan, for example, did I buy like 10 pounds from him? No. But the fact that I was paying 2,300 for him, but he was like, all right, fine, I'll help you out. I'll front you stuff because 2,300 is high. And I'm not making any money off of 2,300. Like I said, like every week I could only afford a buffalo slice of pizza and a ricotta slice of pizza. So 2 slices of pizza. And I can go to New York. But was I eating? Was I taking a shower? Bro, I was wrecked. I was completely wrecked. Like the drug dealing lifestyle is very, very harsh. It's very, very harsh. And people don't understand how hard we work. People don't understand that. And it shows that people don't understand. It shows that people do not understand, bro. They are just in la la land. They are just constantly like, and it's like, what if that person doesn't, and you keep asking that person for a cheaper price? How's that person supposed to pay for their own livelihood? You know what I mean? Get at me, bro. Get at me. That's what I'm about to say. I'm about to be like, 45 is already low. I can do it for 45. It gives it because you want this person. I don't get it because don't you want that person to be like, okay, I worked my ass off today. I did it for a good job. Like, it's like people are like scared of money both ways. You know, like one way they're like, okay, I can't lose too much money. I can't lose too much money. I feel like I'm always getting gypped. It's like, okay, you're always getting gypped. And then it's like, if I give this person too much money, what will happen to them? Will they disappear on me? What are they planning to do? And it's like, bro, it's just like, bro, I'm going to do the best job that I can do. I'm going to do the best job that I can do. And you're going to pay me for the best job that I can do. You're not going to keep saying, no, lower, lower. We can't do it for low. We can't do it for that price. If you can't do it for that price, then please don't ask. Don't ask. Especially when they're doing you a favor, bro. Especially when they're doing you a favor. Nah, but I'm happy though. This is the type of side that I was asking for. Where it's just like, who's going to fight for me? You know what I mean? Like, people are going to fight for you, okay? People are always going to fight for you. They're going to tell you what's the best thing that you should be doing and blase, blase, blah. For you to be like, I don't want any help is a little bit crazy. Of course you want help. Basically, you go and you do a job and you're going to be like, you're going to do a job and you're going to be like, am I doing this for the right price? Am I doing a good job? And when you ask around, these people are going to tell you, they're going to be like, no, this is how much they charge for you to do it. Or like there was another example of putting out people's garbage. We're usually putting out our tennis garbage. And we went to the garbage station and they were like, no, you shouldn't be putting out their garbage. They should be putting out their own garbage. You live in a 4-family duplex, a fourplex. So they're supposed to be taking out their own garbage. And you're just like too scared to say no or think about any other way. So you just do it for them until you break down, until you can't even do it. And then it's just like, bro, is that what you're going to do every single time? Are you going to do it till you break down every single time? Like, is that how this works? You know, you're going to keep working. You're going to keep working until you break yourself down. And it's just like my dad, where he was working for Pathmark. He was working for Pathmark for $15 an hour, and he had his CDL license. So he already had his license. He had his license for, let's say he's been working at Pathmark for 15 years. He had his license for about 5 years before he got laid off. But he was so scared to lose his job at Pathmark that paid $15 an hour that he never looked around, never even thought to look for how much a truck driver would make. And a truck driver makes an astonishing amount of money compared to what he was getting paid. So right now he's getting paid the most that he's gotten paid in his life, $28 an hour. $28 an hour. He's been working for Pathmark for 15 years, and the most that he's made was $15 an hour. $15 an hour. That's because we're scared. It's because we're scared of people. It's like we're scared of what you're going to say because we think that you're always thinking of our best interests. But how is our best interest less money? How is that my best interest? Does that even make any sense? You're sitting there like, yo, bro, I'm going to pay you less money because I think that you're going to get hurt with more money. Let me get hurt with more money. That way I have a bigger cushion. But watch me get hurt with less money and I have no cushion whatsoever. Like, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. For her to ask me like, no, can we do it for a lower price? I knew that she would say that. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, look at you. They're taking you for a fool. Like, you shouldn't even be charging $45. Like, that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. What is that going to do for you? Right? I can't believe she asked that. I knew, like, you have to anticipate this. Like, bro, I know what you're going to say. You know what I mean? I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, let me give you less money. I'm going to send a message. I'm going to send a message. All right, I sent it. Because it pisses you off. And I think that's what people have to realize about schizophrenics, that they change. You change as a schizophrenic. Like, some things start to get ridiculous to you and you're just like fighting it. You know, like, I don't even want to work. I can't work because it causes a lot of stress on me. And you don't realize the type of stress that it causes. It causes mental stress. Mental freaking stress. And nobody understands what mental stress is. Nobody understands what mental stress is. Nobody can gauge what mental stress is until it happens to you. Until you're out there walking from house to house, knocking on people's doors, asking them if they want solar panels. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, I can't even get out of bed. So you just stay in bed all day and you just skip work. Don't even call in. It's a no call, no show. That happens. Then the next day comes. You try to get up. You feel groggy. And then you end up calling them saying, like, I don't think I can do this. I'm trying my best, but I don't think I can do this. That's what mental stress is. People don't understand that. And it's like, bro, you have to start paying people more because you're doing this to them. You're talking about how mental health is a big crisis nowadays. Like, no, it's been a crisis, bro. It's always been a crisis. Mental health, like it's so stressful that you had a whole generations of people working for free, and you're still like, I should pay you a lower price. Bro, I was very nice about it, at least. You know, that's what I like about myself. It's like, you'll be nice about it. You won't be a dick about it. Even though I'm pissed off, like right now, like I wouldn't be saying this to their face, but I'm still gonna post this online. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still gonna say something, but I'm not gonna say it directly to them. Like somebody's gonna hear this and they're gonna be like, yo, he went on a rant, bro. He went on a freaking rant. But that was good. That was because, you know, it's like, this is before you talk to yourself and this is after you talk to yourself. It's like, I would have easily said like $40. All right, $40 is enough. I can do $40. But will you fight for that extra $5? No, not if you don't talk to yourself. You know what I mean? But after you talk to yourself, you might be like, yo, bro, I'm gonna fight for that $45. And after this, I'm probably gonna watch some anime. Yeah, what's up? I'm probably gonna watch some anime. What's up, Belinda? Why was it in the garage like that? You know that I need to take out the lawnmower to do the lawn. No, but Belinda, you know I'm gonna do the lawn eventually, so it can't. No, it couldn't wait. It had to move. Belinda, why would you put it there? That's a ridiculous place to put it, Belinda. I had to move it. I'm gonna put it into your closet whenever I have time. Okay.
I don't have room in my closet. Can it go in the basement?
Fine, Belinda. You should have said something because you knew you were blocking the lawnmower.
It can go in the back of the shed.
So you don't need it anymore.
Not now.
I'll put it in the basement.
Yeah, like you could have, because you're not mowing the lawn right this very second.
Yeah, but Belinda, you know that it was an inconvenient spot. It was just in an inconvenient spot. I moved it. That's it. Because I was gonna put it in your room. I put it there because I couldn't lift it anymore, Belinda. It's heavy. What would I have said? I was going to go do something, so I did that real quick, Belinda. That's what I don't understand, bro. I seriously don't understand that. Like, why does everything have to turn into a fight? I'm about to call May up. Like, you get what I mean, right? You see that? Bro, that conversation was just like, you're just aggravating me even more. But at least I talked about it in a calm manner. But whatever, I'm going to stop it here because I'm annoyed now. I'm going to sit there and watch some anime. People are annoying me. People are really annoying me. It's just like, bro, just pay me my $45. I'm already mad. You know what I mean? Like, and then Bullen is gonna sit there and aggravate me even more. Like, you did not have to do that. Did not have to do that. Like, I get so tired of people. I really do get tired. And tired of inconsiderate people, really. It's just like, you do things that inconveniences other people and then you act entitled to it. You act like you're like, well, yeah, I did it. So what? You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, where are you getting at, bro? Oh, I'm stressing out, bro. Stressing out, bro. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Where she came out of left field with that. Like, I don't have space in my closet. Okay then, bro. Stop making people do things for you. All right, that's the moral of this whole thing. This the moral of this whole freaking podcast, bro. Do shit yourself, bro. Do shit yourself. All right, peace out, bro.